Hey guys, good morning. Welcome to part 2 of our modification for our course. If you have not seen part 1, which included adding a cable bridge, I'm going to link that up above, so go ahead and check that out. I just wanted to show you guys quickly that the process is really trial and error. As you can see, I just have stuff stacked in areas that I think are going to work. Currently, my Jeep is holding up the second story bridge. I have plans on putting another story over here. So the point is, sometimes it's better to just get onto the course and build as you go. And that's gonna be kind of how we're gonna build this today. Right now, we're gonna go ahead and map out exactly where we want this second level to go. Obviously, I'm gonna be going in this little space. I also want to make sure that I use an existing bridge that I already had. So I have to take that into consideration when building it. I also think I'm going to maybe cantilever it just slightly over here to kind of give it a different look. There was a tree in this area, but that had to be removed so that I can map it out. And I've got some leftover Styrofoam from our initial project that I'm going to be using. This width is going to work out perfectly. It's going to give me a slight cantilever on this side, which is kind of what I wanted, just to kind of change it up a little bit. Okay, so I marked 2 points. I marked the start of my angle, which is going to be approximately something like that. And then I went ahead and I marked my overall depth. We're going to go ahead and take this to the kitchen, and then we're going to cut off all the extra pieces, and then we'll bring it back to slide it in place and see if it works. Right now, we went ahead and we cut the second story for that one section that we're going to be working on. I'm not going to tell you right now what's actually going to go on that second section, but you are definitely going to love it. So this is the shape that we have. This is going to be our Teeter Totter. This area is going to be going into the covered bridge. So what I want to do right now is I want to shore up those 2 sections because bridges are going to be connecting and they're huge transition points. Now that we've built our second level, we need to determine the height of our second level. So here we have our second level. I'm using my tallest truck and this existing bridge because we didn't want to build anything new. So I'm going to use this truck and kind of determine how tall it needs to be. So because this level already has the uneven surface, we're going to have to cut each support individually and measure for each of them individually. So we're going to go ahead and get started on that. But before we do that, we need to figure out how to modify the existing bridge. Here's our existing bridge, and we wanted to be able to use it. So we're going to be cutting a little bit more of an angle onto it here so that it rests a little bit more evenly on this. And we're going to be removing the posts. Once we do that, we're going to be building a triangle here and on the other side. And the plan is that we're going to have a teeter totter for the second story. So let's get out to the garage and let's go ahead and modify this bridge. We decided to kind of create two triangles for the sides, and right now we're going to keep them really long like this so that we have the ability to adjust it if we need to. We need to make sure that the truck can get below it and that it'll have enough height to be able to make the teeter totter to get to the second story. That's the board that we're going to be using to make the teeter totter. We actually decided to make it a little bit longer than what we needed. This way we can cut as we go along. Right now we're marking the center of the board, and we're going to be making a hole so that it can receive 2 nails on either side. Those are going to be the side supports for our teeter totter, and right now we're going to be driving a nail into the top portion of it.
Go with, to reduce the profile of it, we decided to put the nail in the side, so this way we have a little more ground clearance for the truck itself. So by the time we do this and sandwich it, should be fine, and it should allow us enough free movement in this.
Most of this is going to be temporary. We still need to figure out the height and exactly the position of this on the board. So let's take it inside.
We're assembling this piece that we just cut to give us the appropriate amount of height clearance for these trucks and not to kind of interfere with anything, different angles. So we decided to come up with this concept. So basically this is gonna go in there, and it should free flow.
It took us a little while to figure out, but we finally have our side pieces. I would really suggest figuring out a way to temporarily attach your 2-story bridge. That's what we did, and we were able to figure out exactly the measurements that we needed. So right now we're just making our 2 triangular pieces. We're now cutting the triangle pieces to go on the side, and we've decided that a 15-degree angle will make it look pretty decorative. Once everything is cut, this is what your 2 side pieces should look like. This bridge took a lot longer to create than we anticipated. This is our original bridge. Originally, the bridge had a fence, so we went ahead and we removed that. We're gonna be reusing that. This bridge also originally had knobs on it for the tires, but because we're limited in our height, we had to get rid of these. So we'll figure something else out. We're going to paint our triangular upright pieces. Okay, so here's the bridge. This bridge attaches to the first story, and then these uprights are going to get attached here and here. So we're going to go ahead and paint these up, and then we're going to get them attached to here, and we'll show you the rest. here is our bridge. Again, this was the original piece that we had when we first built our course. We made 2 vertical uprights for either side. So you've got 2, one for the right, one for the left. We went ahead and we pre-drilled some holes here at the bottom, and this one has already been attached. We decided that we wanted to give this the minimal amount of clearance possible. So we could not have the tilting mechanism here below. So instead, we decided to put a nail on the side here. This board right in the center has a hole in it. I don't know if you guys can see that, but there's a hole there. And this is going to slide right into that, just like that. That's going to give us the clearance that we need down below, but it's also going to allow us to pivot very easily. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and attach the other side. And it looks like that. So there's your finished piece. And what's awesome about this is, again, we've got a flat surface here. So just in case we have taller rigs or rigs with, light bar or anything, they'll be able to fit. Later on down the road, I am going to be installing a stopper. One stopper on this side and one stopper on this side, so that when it pivots to my second story, it stops and doesn't attempt to continue to pivot. I think that's going to be the easiest solution for our setup. So let's get this on the course and we'll show you how it works. Earlier I told you guys that we were going to be installing a stopper on the 2 vertical side rails. The reason for that is because when this pivots down, we need for it to have a stopping point. Right now I have to decide whether I'm leaving the second story with the bridge being integrated into it or whether I'm taking that off. And then after that, we're going to go ahead and get this top painted. We're going to get the vertical uprights for this area created, and then we're going to get that attached also. So like I said this morning, it is going to be best to build your courses in trial and error. That's the only way you're going to know if things are going to work and if they're not going to work. So right now, off the bat, that's looking like a tremendously huge incline. We might have to weigh it down on that side. In the worst case scenario, I could always get some weights, a little bit of brass, and maybe put it on the bottom there. To also help the trucks get on right here, we might have to build up some boulders. So my husband is going to go ahead and do a preliminary run and see if it works. All right, so right now, I think this is gonna work, and now we're gonna get building that part. I decided that we needed to garden. I went ahead and I cut down some pretty straight branches from my backyard. Now I'm gonna clean them up, get rid of everything, and I think I'm gonna attempt to dry these out in my oven. We have our second story here. We've already cut it out. We know that this is going to work perfectly, and we're going to get ready to cover this. I haven't yet told you exactly what's going on the second story, but you guys are going to love it. Now ready to attach the branches that I cut from the garden. These are about 1 inch to 1.5 inches in diameter. We cut them 6 inches high, and now we're carving out the floor here to make sure that we can get these in place. So we have our second layer on. I was going to paint it prior to actually permanently attaching it to the structure, but I got really impatient. Now that the second story is on, you're gonna see that I took those large branches and I secured them with smaller branches cut on a 45. I also went ahead and cut small holes underneath that second story to receive those large branches. So those big vertical branches are actually carved into the ceiling of that second story, and I used everything else around it to secure it. Now I'm gonna go ahead and do a dark gray on the top, and while it's wet, I'm gonna be sprinkling this black sand onto it. And I think what I'm gonna do with the edges is maybe do like a gray, beige to maybe match this bottom section. So let's go ahead and get a generous coat of this on. Hey guys, it's been a few days since I worked on the course. I've been actually working on making some awesome accessories for this top section. We're gonna go ahead and finish this section tonight. I'm gonna do that by creating a porch out of these small 1/4 inch by 5 inch little pieces of wood, and we're just gonna make a slatted wood floor for this area, and then we're gonna attach what I think you guys are gonna love. So stay tuned. Now that all the slats are attached, we're gonna go ahead and dry brush a little bit of brown onto the surface to age them. It's now time to go ahead and install this. We're gonna be using some dowels, some paint stirrers, and some branches that I'm gonna run from this first story, the second story, up to the third story. be reusing the railings that were attached to one of our bridges. They were actually screwed onto the old bridge, and I'm gonna go ahead and install these little dowels into the existing screw holes, and then we're gonna go ahead and get that put up. Hey guys, welcome back. We are on day 4 of this build right here. We decided to make a couple of modifications to our rock crawler course that we have in our, what used to be, guest room. And it definitely took a lot longer to do than we anticipated. So this video originally was going to be one video, but we now are going to make this into 4 separate videos. Video number 1 is going to be the cable bridge that runs underneath our covered bridge. Video number 2 is going to be the second level up here, and it's going to include information on building this Teeter Totter, which was really complicated. Video number 3 is going to be this section right here, which is also going up. We're adding a new bridge, and I've got something amazing planned for the top of that. Can't wait for y'all to see it. And video number 4 is going to be a little bit different than most of my other videos, because I'm going to show you how I made the general store, kind of in diorama style. If you haven't had an opportunity yet, be sure to like and subscribe. You're not going to want to miss a lot of the information that we have coming up. And for now, let's go ahead and wrap up this part. And I'm going to take I think today I'm going to use my deadbolt. I think that's the only thing that has a charged battery on it. And we're going to go ahead and do a run on this course so that you could see just this section. If you haven't seen the full course, or you want to take a look at that, you want to hit up the playlist, or you want to look at one of the videos on the back end of this video. Until then, guys, thanks.